Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Can I please have your attention? So this is just a brief introduction. Just wanted to welcome everyone. First and foremost, I wanted to say good morning. And secondly, I'm really excited about today because we revamped our open house to focus on our core values, which is advocacy. And so that's why you'll see the renaming of the open house to Your Voice Matters, IHSS Advocacy, and Community Summit. And I'm really proud of the work that the staff did. And so I see all these amazing advocates, recipients, health plans, and not only just people in LA County, but throughout the state. I just wanted to say thank you to my governing board members, in particular, Cynde Soto. Yes. So I make sure that, that this is this is who I report to. My board members, half of them are IHSS recipients, and they're in the room today, and some of them will be part of the panel discussion. And so they tell me firsthand some of the challenges they've experienced, and they want me to move forward with during when I'm advocating, when I'm fighting back for those that are most vulnerable, the seniors and people living with disabilities. And I see a lot of you here who have joined me in that fight, so I'm really fortunate. So just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the director of the Public Authority, which is the Personal Assistance Services Council. And I wouldn't be here with you today if it wasn't for the staff. I wanted to acknowledge everyone you see here standing. They're the ones who planned this whole event. And Andy, my executive assistant in the back, did a lot of the great planning, so I want to congratulate him too. But I'm going to stop right there, hand it over to Cynde. So Cynde, just want to say a quick good morning before we begin.
Sure. Hello, everyone. So happy to see y'all. It's going to be an exciting day. I know it will be. Okay, now I guess I will read what I'm supposed to. It's too close. Too close. Okay. The Personal Assistance Service Council extends its heartfelt congratulations to Senator Caroline. Is it Caroline? Caroline.
Caroline.
Caroline, sorry, Menjivar, our esteemed legislator of the year. Senator Menjivar has been a champion for IHSS and other essential programs that provide vital services to vulnerable populations, particularly seniors and individuals with disabilities. Your unwavering dedication and commitment to making a positive impact on our community are truly commendable.
So with that being said, PASC would like to honor the legislator of the year, the champion in Sacramento, Caroline Menjivar. She could not be here today because she's in Sacramento fighting for the opposition of any cuts to IHSS and Medi-Cal, but we do have a video, so please play the video.
Personal Assistance Service Council of LA. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for this award. Hi everyone, I'm California State Senator Caroline Menjivar. I'm so grateful and honored to be your legislator of the year. And I'm so sad I can't be there with y'all, but I'm here in the fight with you. We're here to make sure that those IHSS cuts don't happen. We're fighting back. I see you come up to Sacramento all the time. We've met here in my district office, and we're continuing to make sure you all get what you deserve and entitled to. Again, thank you so much for this honor.
And so we're handing her the award because she's a champion for IHSS, and she's fighting for us. She's the chair of the subcommittee 3 that has rejected the cuts to IHSS, and so it was only right for us to acknowledge her. So thank you so much. So just a round of applause for her, please. We also wanted to recognize the PASC Lifetime Achievement Award in Disability Advocacy for 2026. And I'm going to let Cynde move forward with that nomination and who won the award. Go ahead, Cynde.
That's the Janet Heinrichs Canterbury. Janet!
Yeah, I think she's she's a little bit confused because she was unaware that we would be giving her this award. So let me just give you a brief history on her. So she's been around prior to our public authority being established. Our public authority was established in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And so it's not only has she worked for the public authority, she's a current board member, and has done a great job advocating for those most in need. So Janet, please come over here. We hand her the PASC Lifetime Achievement Award in Disability Advocacy. So Janet, please give it up for Janet Heinrichs Canterbury. Yeah, congratulations. No worries. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, can you say a couple of words real quick, Janet?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an advocate. Lifetime Achievement Award in Disability Advocacy. It has been my absolute pleasure and honor to work with all of you. I can't even tell you. My life would be a blank without having done all this work. It's wonderful. And PASC is wonderful, and you know, it's blossoming into so many new areas and new things. This is wonderful. So I mean, I'm shocked. Um, so while I have the mic, um, let me just tell you, we have at the SICA table, we have a call. You're going to hear more about this in the panel, I'm sure, but we have a flyer that tells you how to make calls to the assembly, to people in the assembly that matter a lot right now on the budget debate. You can get the call-in script and the number by going to the SICA table over there. I didn't bring up one up here with me, but please do that. It's incredibly important. I'm sure you're going to hear more about it today. So I thank you so much for this. I'm shocked, and I'm like I said, I'm honored to work with all of you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. The next person, so Cynde, I'm going to announce this one. Are you fine with this? So we're going to honor someone's 10 years at PASC through public service. So this person has worked their way up from being a temp employee to now being the assistant director, and his name is Michael Vasquez. So 10 years at PASC. When he came on board, he was a young guy trying to figure himself out. Now he's a father of two, and he seems like he has it all figured out now. And so I'm really to be working with him. I've seen him grow, and I wanted to present him this 10-year anniversary for the public service to PASC. So here you go, Michael. Congratulations. And he's also the person that led this event today. So if you're here communicating with anyone, Michael's the one who constructed this event along with the committee members. So congratulations, Michael. Can you say a couple of words before we start?
Oh, no, yes. Thank you, everybody. It was unexpected. 10 years tomorrow. Almost 12 years through also the agency. But I think I've been here for a third of my life. So I think that's something that I take big value on. This goes down from the roots of my parents and my family. I look to be here another 10, 20 years. So I appreciate one being here today. You know, it's not even 9:30 and I see we're all filled up. So I appreciate everyone that shared our information and got together today. Thank you all of my staff. I know sometimes I could give them a hard time, but I appreciate everybody, you know, stepping up and being there for me and being there for everyone within PASC and our community. So thank you so much, everybody. This is not just for me, it's for everyone here today. So
Congratulations, Michael. And last but not least, unfortunately, this board member could not join us today, but we did want to acknowledge her. So I'll have Cynde move forward with a certificate.
Right. So PASC Community Service Award in Disability Advocacy 2026 goes to Joanne Cannon.
So Joanne Cannon was a PASC staff member and IHSS recipient. When she retired from PASC, she became a PASC board member, and she provided 10 years of service not only to the IHSS community, but those seniors and people living with disabilities. She couldn't make it here today because she's under the weather, but we wanted to make sure she was acknowledged for all the work she did, not only working for us, but all her advocacy, not just in Los Angeles, but throughout the state. And I'm really thankful to have Joanne, as one of our board members, because she did guide me through a lot of moments where I was trying to figure things out, and she was telling me exactly, hey, you need to do this and that. And so I'm really thankful for having her. Anything you want to share, Cynde?
Yes, she's a wonderful person, and I'm sorry she can't be here, but we will pass on our thanks to her when we do see her. I do have one last thank you. I want to thank the staff and administration of PASC. They not only put all this wonderful event together, but they also continue to do their usual work. And it just amazes me. They're all wonderful people, hardworking, and I have a little something for the office.
Oh, nice.
You want to?
I'm going to open it. So I didn't get a PlayStation during Christmas, so maybe that's what it
Oh, look at that. Oh, all right. Oh, beautiful. Oh, there you go. Ah, nice. Yeah. Oh, this is really, really great.
That's great, Cynde. You knew exactly what we were looking for. We were trying to find this flag and we couldn't find it, and she found it. Thank you so much, Cynde. So thank you, everyone. Before we begin, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the situation that's going on right now with the governor's proposed budget, but also I wanted to acknowledge those that are no longer here with us, those that we lost and our loved ones. I just want to have a moment of silence. We'll have a couple of seconds moment of silence. I wanted to acknowledge Joe Arrow, who was a PASC staff member who worked in our outreach department, who not only has been around for the last 20 years or so, but made sure that legislators heard from us directly from people that were receiving services. And Joanne and Janet can tell you that firsthand, because how we got to know him is that he chewed out Janet the first time you guys met. And to do that, that's a tough task because Janet's a tough cookie. So I just wanted to have a moment of silence for those that we've lost, in particular for us, Joe Arrow, and any loved ones. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And on a brighter note, we're going to begin the panel discussion. There'll be raffle giveaways throughout the day. And so make sure that you are grabbing your ticket. Just want to thank everyone. We're going to begin the panel. Anything else, Cynde?
I think we're good. Let's do this.
Thank you, guys. Oh, sorry about that. I jumped right ahead. So we're gonna do a traditional ribbon cutting ceremony. So
I got
go
you.
ahead, Mike.
I got you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You're the man today.
Here we go. All right. Up, lift it up.
Last time around, there you go.
Pull hard.
Last time around.
Pull hard. Just pull hard.
Ready?
Got it.
1, 2, 3.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. So the panel will begin in the next 5 minutes, and we have great advocates who will be joining us during the panel discussion. So I'm looking forward to. If you want to hear the panel discussion, please stay here. We have the programs in the front. If you're here for the breakout sessions, we have different services and breakout sessions available today. Thank you very much. All right, everyone. Good morning once again. I'm Luis Bravo. I'll be moderating today's panel discussion. We're going to address
I'm Maral Karaccusian.
the
I'm
concerns
Kristy.
related to the governor's proposed budget and some of the cuts that we're going to be seeing with IHSS and Medi-Cal. We'll also be talking about our efforts, what we've been doing at the local, state, and federal level to fight against these cuts. But before we begin, we just wanted some brief introductions. My name is Luis Bravo. I'm the Director of the Public Authority for PASC, and I will be moderating the event. I'm going to hand it over to Sabrina. Sabrina?
Hello. Oh,
Good morning, folks. If we could just please keep it quiet for the panel discussion so everybody can hear. Thank you. We'd appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
is my mic working? Okay, I think so. Hi, all. Oh, maybe it needs to be closer to me. I am Sabrina Epstein. I use she, her pronouns. And I work at Disability Rights California as a policy analyst. And I'm really excited to be here today with my fellow panelists.
Cynde, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Cynde Soto. I chair the PASC, and I am a recipient of IHSS.
Kristy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kristy Madden, and my pronouns are she, her. and I'm Assistant Director for SECA, and I'm also on the governing board of PASC, and I'm very happy to be here today.
Hi, my name is Maral Karaccusian, she, her pronouns, and I'm the Director of Los Angeles County's Aging and Disabilities Department. I'm happy to be here today.
Good morning. My name is Carlos Benavides. I'm president of the Los Angeles County Commission on Disabilities. I chair the Patient Advisory Council at Rancho Los Amigos, and I'm a strong advocate for people with disabilities. I'm very glad to see everybody out here, and I'm also happy to be here with the rest of the panelists.
Thank you. Sabrina, can you pass me that microphone? I'm going to use that. So we'll begin. And if you don't know who is up on the stage today you'll figure out because they're such strong advocates. They've been, not only are they known throughout Los Angeles, but throughout the state. Anytime you talk about advocacy, these are the people that are in the forefront or the organizations that are in the forefront in fighting against any cuts to seniors and people living with disabilities. I wanted to start off with our first question. And this question is going to go to Kristy Madden. What would be the real world impacts if these services that are available, like IHSS, would be cut? And if you didn't have a provider, what would happen to you? Can you just briefly talk about that, Kristy?
Well, for me, it would mean a loss of my income at work and the wonderful job that I love. And I don't even know how I'd get to PASC meetings, to be honest. My workers help me get out of bed in the morning and help me get dressed and washed up and eat, get my food, and they drive me to things and help me even to get into bed at night. And plus, they're just the greatest people, and they're like family to us. And that's true for so many people like us with disabilities. My sister Carrie and myself, when I say us, that's who I'm referring to. We both have muscular dystrophy, and we both use the same workers. But yes, this is true for a lot of people, and some people, even death can result from not having your worker there.
And Kristy Madden has a sister who's Carrie Madden, and I wanted to make sure she's acknowledged because they're great advocates. She's in the back over there with Cal Life, and so soon they'll be joining the county. So they'll be joining the county. So I just wanted to make sure I acknowledge the director back there. I wanted to talk to Cynde. So Cynde, tell me what your concern would be if you ended up institutionalized. If this program, if there was cuts to these programs, for example, the asset limit. So right now, the proposition is that they reinstated the asset limit for Medi-Cal. So currently right now it's 130,000, but they're trying to reinstate it to 2,000 per individual and 3,000 per couple. Cynde, can you tell me what would happen if you end up institutionalized, and what's your fear that revolves around that?
Since I am paralyzed from my shoulders down to my tippy toes, I would not survive. I would end up in an institution, and actually it couldn't be sooner than later because I do have assets over the limit that is proposed by the governor's budget. I believe the Assembly also has the same thing in their budget. And I would just lose everything I have. And I would lose the love and support of my wonderful, fabulous IHSS workers. And if before I ended up in a nursing home, I would end up with skin breakdowns, hungry, thirsty, everything would just be eliminated. And I just cannot live that way. I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for my wonderful IHSS workers.
Thank you, Cynde. I wanted to talk about advocacy and public awareness, and this question is for Maral. Why is it important for those that receive services to share their stories and to educate not only legislators, but be educated on the resources that are available to them? Can you briefly speak about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think decision makers and policymakers sometimes don't have the shared experience that you all do and the lived experience and the expertise. And so I think sometimes I'm a social worker by background, so I feel like I have empathy. But sometimes I've met some policymakers until they experience and they've walked that walk, they don't feel like they need to. And no shade to people. There's a lot of priorities and a lot of competing interests out there. But to raise your voices, and so I think people power is so important. Mobilize, mobilize, mobilize. And, your local elected officials are more accessible. All of your Sacramento representatives have district offices, so it's really important to get to know who those people are, because your one story could make a change and impact that. And that's why advocacy is so important. I wish we lived in an ideal world where all of our vulnerable communities were prioritized. But until we can get there, your voices really matter. And it's really important to get to know who your elected officials are, who the decision makers are. I mean, essentially, I'm a decision maker, so it's good to know who I am, at the end of the day, to see how we can be a strong, powerful force within the county to help elevate the needs that you all represent.
Thank you so much. And for those that don't know Maral, I recently saw her on the news, and she's been advocating consistently ever since she was, not only when she became the interim, but now as a director. So I wanted to personally congratulate you. There's no better person to be the executive director. So congratulations, Maral.
Thank
We
you.
never got the
Thank you.
chance to tell you that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because last year Maral was here representing her district. And so she used to be the Health and Human Services Deputy, and now she's the executive director. So that's great to see, because there's no better person. So I also wanted to share with you that Carlos, they work side by side, and Carlos has been instrumental. He's been a champion for seniors and people living with disabilities. So Rancho Los Amigos, I always heard this story, and it was like Superman-like, about this gentleman who fought against the cuts to Rancho Los Amigos, which is a rehab center. I didn't know who it was, and I found out it was him. I knew who he was, but I didn't realize it was him, because he's, he acts so cool about it. He's just a cool guy, but don't let that fool you. He's a great advocate. So Carlos, can you briefly talk about why is it important for not just seniors and people with disabilities to be educated on the resources, but everyone here today, why is it important?
Okay, you'll find out. I'm one of those people that, I do have a couple of notes, because if I don't have the notes, I'm gonna go on a tangent about different types of disabilities and things that are going on around here. As you said, you're sharing your story. It really does matter, because when funding decisions are made, decision makers are always looking at spreadsheets. They're looking at cost benefit analysis and the broad line items. While data is necessary, it's very, very cold. By getting your voice out there, okay, people realize that, you're not a number. But I think our issue with disabilities is we've never been brought to the table until recently. We've always been left behind. Even at the county, they'll build something, and this happened at Rancho. You'll build it, then you bring somebody with a disability and find out you have to redo it again. Okay, and that's the wrong way to go, because the people that will give you the most information are people like you, myself, people that sit out there and people that actually live it, not that are behind a desk, just punching numbers in and, hey, let's save money here, let's save money there. Exposing hidden gaps. Systemic cuts often create unintended barriers. A policy change might look efficient on paper, but it can actually prove catastrophe to somebody, an individual person. Okay, and that's what they don't realize. Hey, it looks good on paper, but maybe they spoke to me, but each one of us in here is different. Each one of us is an individual. There can be 25 wheelchairs in here, and each person in the wheelchair is totally different, and they need a different type of assistance. So what I see, and you know what, I'm very humbled, and I'm very proud to see all you out there, because I see a lot of people that are willing to take that next move and face everybody, make a change, make a drastic change, and not just sit back at home. So thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Very well said. And so I'm going to call on Kristy. So Kristy, what can community members, in particular those that are here today, what can they do to make that change? How can they advocate not only for those that they're taking care of? These are our grandmothers, these are our mothers, these are our family members, our neighbors. What can people do today to advocate for themselves?
Okay, well, I have good news for you. Over at our SICA table, we have a phone script that you can use, and you can call your local representatives. We've got the two most important ones right now for this battle is Rivas and Assemblyman Gabriel. And over at the SICA table where Janet Canterbury is waving her hand, we have the script, and it's so easy to call. And I call every day. because we need to just deluge them with calls and just tell what it means to you. You don't have to say a lot, just talk about your own personal experience if you can, because that's the most meaningful thing of all. Like if I was calling today, I would say these asset limits are impossible for me. How am I going to save up money for repairs on my house? And what if I get even an IRS check or something and it's way over the amount? Boom, I'm gone off of Medi-Cal, and then I lose my IHSS. I mean, things like that really make a difference because they haven't thought of this. Believe me, they don't know these ramifications. So if you can just make it clear to them, it's easy to do. And besides that, you can do emails. If you join SECA, we can hook you up to ways to email, all kinds of things. If you want to take a step further, you can even visit them. We do visits, and we can hook you up with other groups even that do visits. And so if you'd like to actually go out, and it's kind of fun to do because you're standing up for your community. And it's really usually a very, very positive experience. So that's what I would say.
Thank you for that. I also wanted to highlight that we recently actually met with Dr. Corey Jackson. This was something that Cynde Soto, who's here today, she was able to gather over 30 recipients, 30 advocates to participate in this meeting. I just want to briefly share from your experience. Why was that important, Cynde?
Since he has such a powerful job in the legislature, he could move this along with other legislators, and he understands our dilemma in the possibility of losing some services in the IHSS program. And he is definitely another champion that we do have. And he's very receptive, and I know he is going to do whatever he can to save our IHSS programs.
He's definitely a champion for IHSS. And so I wanted to now discuss policy and funding. I'll briefly introduce it and then I'm calling you, Sabrina. So what's going on right now with the current budget? During the January, the governor proposed shifting costs from the state to the counties. And there's this, they're trying to figure out what the medium amount of hours, which is the average amount of hours throughout the state. And so whatever that average is, if counties go above it, the counties would be responsible for the difference. So the issue we have right now is that counties and the state are at a deficit. They're trying to figure out where they're going to get this money from. The federal government gave the option to California to be able to take on this cost. Instead, Governor Newsom's proposal was to shift it over to the counties. So we've been rejecting this. Why? Because it's going to impact the hours that recipients are receiving. So that's number one. Number two, they're trying to align the termination date for Medi-Cal with IHSS. So right now, if you have Medi-Cal and you didn't renew on time, your IHSS continues for about 60 days. Well, what happened with the new proposal, your IHSS and Medi-Cal are getting terminated at the same time. Our concern with that and why we're opposing this is because IHSS, there's already a difficulty with provider retention, provider recruitment. If you have a reliable provider, they're potentially going to have to go look for another job if they're no longer, if your case is terminated. Why? Because they have to provide for their families. They have to be able to bring money home. Inflation has gone off the roof, groceries, gas. And so that's what our concern is. So we're opposed to that. The last one is known as BUPS. So they're eliminating BUPS. And that program is a program through IHSS that allows for an emergency caregiver and pays a $2 differential. So it's known as a statewide backup provider system. And so if a recipient doesn't have their provider for a day because their provider is ill, or if their recipient is in the hospital and needs to get discharged and they need to have someone there, this program, we're able to send someone out as an emergency to make sure someone's there for you. And our concern is that by eliminating this program, you're going to eliminate not only the differential for IHSS providers, but also potentially not having that emergency for those recipients that need it the most. You're talking about recipients who are bedbound, who, if they don't have anyone, potentially have to call 911. It would backlog the 911. It would backlog also the paramedics and also the hospitals. And so I can talk to you more about that, but I would prefer for Sabrina just to talk about how we ended up here with these cuts. Can you just briefly talk about that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Luis. I got it, this one. As long as I hold it, I think I'm good. So as you described, there's 3 different proposals to cut IHSS in the state budget this year. But I want to zoom out a little bit. So over the past several years, the past several decades, really, we have been part of a movement in California and nationwide led by so many disabled people and caregivers and older adults to increase IHSS, to increase Medi-Cal, to expand it to more people. And we've been really successful. There's now IHSS for people regardless of their immigration status, Medi-Cal for people regardless of their immigration status, IHSS for all ages. And unfortunately, the priorities that we hold as disabled people, as caregivers, as older adults, don't seem to be shared by some of those in power, particularly the governor's office, because as soon as there was a sign of economic downturn, as soon as the budget got squeezed, that was the first thing on the chopping block. People are saying, oh, last one in, first one out. You were the ones who just got expanded. But that doesn't have to be the case. That's a value statement. And we know that the federal administration has cut $1 trillion from healthcare with HR 1. And California is going to feel that. But we have a choice. We can choose to use our resources to fill in those gaps. We can choose to find sustainable revenue sources. We have a lot of wealth in our state. We can choose to, for example, tax some of the largest corporations, close some corporate tax loopholes for the wealthiest, and use that to fund IHSS and Medi-Cal. It's a statement of priorities, right? And we need to make sure that our priorities, our experiences, as Kristy was saying, and Cynde, like they don't know what we are experiencing. So we need to inform those in power. So that's how we got into this situation. And before I pass it to the next question, I do want to say this is not a done deal yet. The Senate and the Assembly and the governor are not on the same page, and they have 10 days, I think, to figure this out. So this is the time to call. This is the time to push them. Our advocacy is working. The Senate has proposed rejecting 2 out of the 3 IHSS cuts and rejecting the asset limit. The Assembly has proposed keeping the asset limit as the governor proposed, but rejecting all 3 of the IHSS cuts. So they're in private rooms arguing about this right now. Why are we not there? These policies are being made without disabled people, without caregivers, without older adults at the table. And I mean, I think all of us are in this room to change that.
Man, very inspiring. Round of applause for that. Very inspiring. Thank you, Sabrina. What I can share with you is that the Personal Assistance Services Council has been advocating since the beginning of the year. Since January, we've been meeting with legislators. Since the governor proposed his budget, we've been meeting with legislators to inform them on the importance of these key programs. And so through that work, you heard Sabrina that 2 out of the 3 are being rejected. And that's because we've been advocating. So this is your opportunity. My understanding is that 10 days before the budget is released, which is scheduled to be released no later than June 15th, is that the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor's finance staff get together to address these concerns and work out on the budget behind the scenes. So today would be the 10th day. So it sounds like today could potentially be our last day, right, Sabrina? So for those that are interested, I see Janet over there because she's flagging me down. Make sure you to go to Janet. Sabrina and I were yesterday outside of Jesse Gabriel's office, who's the chair of the subcommittee 2 for the Assembly. And since they have approved the asset limit, we were there to fight against it. And several constituents went up to speak to him, and we've spoken to him. And my hope is that with your help today, we can change that. And I've noticed that we can because I've worked with Cynde, Kristy, and I've noticed the changes that they've been able to make through advocacy. So if there was something today, I'm going to leave eventually Kristy to talk about that, what the call to action is. So I just briefly want to ask Cynde. So Cynde, we're going to go to workforce and providers. Today, your provider's like family to us because I know who she is and she's really great. We spoke about that. Well, can you tell me the importance of having a provider? And if these cuts move forward, what would happen then?
I would definitely not be here today, that's for sure. I don't even know if I would be alive, actually. Because I know that workers in institutions do the best they can. But since I have such a significant disability, I don't think I would receive enough care. But I have a waiver along with the IHSS funds, and that's what keeps me alive, happy, safe, and healthy. Was that your question?
That's great. Yes, yes. Mhm.
Thank you.
She's an extreme hard worker. I see her in every meeting that she can attend to. And I really do look up to her because of the workload. I'm like, man, you're everywhere, Cynde. Yeah, so if you don't know who she is today, I'm certain that today she'll make a name for herself. What I wanted to talk to you about is a forward-thinking question. So what is a sustainable future for these services that we offer to older adults and people with disabilities look like? That's going to go to Maral. I know you've been advocating. I'm not going to speak on your behalf, but just, briefly speak about, what does this look like? What does the future look like in order for us to sustain these programs?
I mean, ultimately, are we generating enough local funds to invest in services? Probably not, right? And that's a whole property tax discussion for another. Corporate loopholes, taxing. I think what we prioritized, and this is going to be my opinion, and I have to be mindful of this, but in this state, right, when we think about the Behavioral Health Services Act, right, Prop 1 passed a couple years ago. I think it's been a couple years. What we're saying as voters, we're prioritizing mental health and behavioral health, right? Substance use. And so we're taxing millionaires. We're taking, that's the evolution of the Mental Health Services Act. So where are our resources for aging and disabilities? So like I look at San Francisco and like the Dignity Fund, right? If I were to dream aspirationally, we would figure out how to generate some local funds to actually fund these resources, because I think we're overtaxed and there's just so many competing priorities. So do we need to generate more revenue? Probably. Can we reassign some revenue and prioritize it? Probably. And so, the reality is, what is our priorities and what are our priorities as a society? And so on the aging side, we'll be 60% of the population will be over 60 by 2040, right? On the disability side, I think we've done some really good, solid representation, but it's an estimate, a third of the population, but I think we have to do a more robust study and to actually elevate data that demonstrates how many people in Los Angeles County live with disabilities. So we can actually have that talking point and say, actually, 60% of the population's aging, a third of our population has disabilities. What are we actually doing around housing and homelessness, transportation, food insecurity, right? If you just look at it from basic needs, and what are we really prioritizing? And I think our policymakers have been prioritizing a lot around different issue areas, and that's our job as decision makers, as directors, as advocates, to kind of coalesce around a common cause. And what I appreciate about this is we're unified around the IHSS cuts, right? And I also, on a side note, it would be remiss of me not to talk about the $70 million cut we're going to take in adult protective services, which is connected. So if we take that cut and go back to 65 and over for adult protective services, who's investigating, who's going out and actually investigating, alleged abuse and neglect. So there's just a lot of competing interests. So how do we elevate our voices and stay unified? But ultimately, my dream scenario is that we generate special buckets of money that are just dedicated to both the aging and disabled community. And give me some time, I think we can get there.
Yeah.
This is going to be an open-ended question for anyone who wants to take it. What actually we talked about the current landscape and the budget. We've talked about what we can do, some of the concerns, but what gives you hope with the current advocacy efforts, the current landscape in California? Who wants to take that question? It's more open-ended. We'll take maybe a few of you who want to answer that.
I think I can go first. It gives me hope that we're in California, of all the great states in this nation. So I'm hopeful that our values are aligned. I wouldn't be anywhere else. And I'm biased. I love Los Angeles County. I'm a native Los Angelino, born and raised. So it really is, it's a great place to be. And the silver lining for me is that I see all these beautiful faces and everyone here who's doing the work day to day. So that gives me hope that, there's you in the audience, there's us on the panel, but also just the reality that we're in California.
Cynde.
Yes, thank you. I would like to give a shout out. Oops. Yeah, okay. To all the unpaid caregivers that are taking care of people, and they have, out of the love of their heart, and their family, they take care and keep people alive, healthy, happy, safely in their own home. I think a good idea could be that we give them a tax break or some kind of incentive at the end of the year, so they wouldn't be, have a little extra. Everybody needs that. So thank you.
I can tell you first. I can tell you firsthand. My grandmother dealt with Alzheimer's, so she's the one who raised me for the first 15 years of my life. She went from me and her being inseparable most of my childhood and teenage years to she didn't recognize me after a while, and she was approved for about 70 hours through IHSS, but she needed around the clock. So we were taking turns, through family members to take care of her. And what I can share with you is I know firsthand the essential service and essential care that IHSS providers provide. That's why I understand what you're facing every day, what recipients face. And, I'm passionate about that. So, seeing some of you here today, I'm really happy you're here because I'm hoping that today you're able to advocate and make those calls because it's really, really important. I wanted to leave you with this, and this is open to the panel. What is one action item aside from making these calls that members can make today? Because the fight's not going to just stop today. I know we have a budget situation today, but we don't know the landscape next year. So what is something somebody can do today to make a difference? Cynde?
We have over 30 organizations here, and I bet they would love to hear from you, to go talk to them about their program. Maybe you could help them out. Look, I hate to use the word volunteer because it sounds, but you could go on their advocacy team or make calls or send letters, help their consumers, their clients to advocate. And, it's actually a lot of fun. It could be a little drudgy at times, but really you make new friends, you stay busy, and it's really, like I said, a lot of fun.
Carlos, go ahead.
Yeah, I think cross-sector coalitions would be about the best thing to do. Build a powerful coalition, linking disability advocacy groups, veteran organizations, urban planners, and forward-thinking business leaders to present a unified front.
So before we close off, we did want to take a couple of questions. So does anybody have a question? Andy, can you, we have a question right here in the front. So Andy, can you take that question? And then I'll call on somebody to be able to answer that question, okay? And just briefly say your name and if you're from any agency, if you're able to.
Jordan, am I on? Yes, I am Jordan. I am an IHSS recipient. And one of my concerns is we seem to have, I hear a lot of you saying we have to make phone calls every day, and we seem to always be on the chopping block and always having to fight, and that's a problem. And I understand partially why the Department of Defense, Department of War never is on the chopping block. There's always money, somewhere between estimates of $1 billion to $2 billion a day to fight an endless war in Iran. Whether you believe so we should do it or not, that's a lot of money. That's money that we could be using here. So my question is, we live in the most expensive, well, not the most expensive, Hawaii is, but very few states, California, I think Wisconsin, Minnesota have programs like this. So my question in a roundabout way is, how do we get this not just in California, because we'll always be, but across the United States? So if someone like this lady wanted to move to be with family in Nebraska, she could still have this type of service in other states. She's not limited to only California. Other people in Gatlin, Nebraska could have these type of services if they want to live with family. So it's not just here in California or in certain states. We need to get it across the board so we could be with family and live in other places, and not everybody's coming just to those states. But again, making those phone calls every day, we need to be, again, like the Department of War and never be on the chopping block. And when they hear us, they should be like, you know what? No, that's off the board. We're going to fund it, and we don't have to make those phone calls every day and fear that staff are going to lose their job and things of that nature. So
No,
your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that comment. And so what I can tell you from my experience, and then I'm going to kick it to Sabrina, is that I've been in the room where the decision makers are at, and the finance team unfortunately sees IHSS as a line item budget. They're not seeing the people firsthand. That's why it's important for us to advocate. Not, one thing is that I go to advocate at the state, but I notice the difference if I take Kristy or I take Cynde with me. They're really holding them accountable. We got to hold the legislators accountable, and they have to hear your story. They have to hear, how you're going to be directly affected, what's going to happen to you if this happens, because ultimately they need your vote. They want to keep you happy. So you have to keep that in mind. In a ideal world, we wouldn't have to do this. But unfortunately, we do. If we don't advocate for ourselves, if you don't share your story, somebody else is going to tell your story for you. And so I'll call on Sabrina. Sabrina?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question and for sharing your experience. I want to call into the room a really beautiful movement that was in Washington, D.C. recently for Fund Care, Not ICE. A lot of the violence that is being enacted with our tax dollars by ICE is being done in the name of taking away funding from our care directly. And both of those things are violent. It's violent to rip away our care, our health care, our home care, and it's violent to rip our neighbors out of their homes and put them in detention centers. And so the first way I'd answer your question is keep dreaming of that world. Keep asserting that that is a way we can prioritize our resources, that care, whether that's our healthcare, whether that's home and community-based services, are a non-negotiable on the budget instead of a line item that we have to fight for every year, because damn, it is exhausting. None of us want to have to fight every single year for this. So we need to keep asserting that we have the resources to do this and that these are our priorities. We need to be in the room where those decisions get made.
Thank you. And what brings me hope is that the day that the Senate had their hearing on the budget, there was hundreds of recipients there. And when the senator looked around, she said, hey, why are we forcing the recipients who can barely make it here? When there's all these other items we're not even addressing, why are we doing this to ourselves? So we do have a champion in Senator Menjivar who was acknowledged today, and that's the reason why we acknowledged her. But I wanted to go to the next question, so go ahead.
My name is Robert Laws, and I've been recipienting for about 4 or 5 months. And my question is, if it wasn't for this lady here, I wouldn't have been able to make it this morning because the elevators are down. And my question is, when you live on a second floor, how in the heck can you get some help to assist the elevators to get fixed? They've been down since the 3rd of June. And the question is, I called and called and called, and I don't know when it's going to be fixed. Okay, but that's not the issue. The issue is the providers that we need. See, like I fall a case at a time, and I need somebody to live with me. And it's hard to get somebody to live because they have so many clients at one time. I have one right now that's going to get another job, and I'm asking for more hours. She couldn't wait. So I do need somebody to live in with me because I have trouble getting out of the bed. I have trouble getting around. I fall down occasionally. This lady here helps me a lot. And I understand that couldn't have nobody living with you. They only, when I had somebody, they were 64 hours. So I asked for 4 more hours. And I do have a power chair, but I couldn't get down, and I had to walk from the train station here, and she picked me up and brought me here. But the thing about it is, we need more. And another thing I want to find out is why aren't they this woman's licensed? Why ain't they taking the test? I mean, the test for CPR or something? Because I'm 74. I want to know why they're not getting that done to be licensed to do that, because I do have a bad heart. I do have a murmur, and I don't know, when I'm going to go, but I live at home. I have an apartment, and I am from Illinois. So I came out here. I haven't been here for 30 years, but we have to get something done and stand on the promise that ISS gives us with the people that needs help. I've been like this for about 10 years, and I never had any help in Illinois, and now I'm asking for help here, but I do need to find out how I can get somebody to come in and live with me and take care of me 24/7 instead of having this one work for me during the day and I'm by myself. I can't cook or anything like that. So that's what I want to find out why. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. That's, so the situation you're going through is the harsh reality for a lot of recipients. I did want to acknowledge your IHSS provider. I recognize her, and so it looks like you have a reliable person, so I wanted to make sure I recognize that. Okay, you have two, but I know I've seen her multiple times at our past events, and I know she's an IHSS provider. So I'm happy you have her. The reality is that there's a lot of recipients who are, their basic needs are not being met. And that's what we're trying to address. We're trying to figure out how to solve those challenges. But what I'm going to do, I want to hand it off to to Kristy. Can you just give a suggestion? What would you recommend in his scenario? What would you recommend, given that I know you have several IHSS providers that are like your family?
Okay, I had a problem where I didn't have enough hours. And it was, excuse me, I talked to someone from Vet Sedec, and they told me that I needed to call my board of supervisors. So if you know what district you're in, you can look it up online, who your supervisor is. Have you tried calling the board of supervisors?
He only had 64 hours, 69, I'm sorry. We have now moved up to 124. Yes, so he has that problem that he's not able to communicate. What he's asking is that who from the personal assistance services can assist him with getting the correct provider that he needs to assist him more. I am no longer with him right now because of the traveling distance, but I had told him that I will bring him here to see if he can get those referrals that he needs. Because he asks the neighbors for referrals because personal assistance is not referring him. So that's what his actual question was.
So
Okay.
Robert, we can address that, and I'll introduce you to one of our staff members as a case manager that's going to work with you one-on-one and ensure that you're able to find someone, okay? So we'll make sure to connect right after this. Hey, Robert, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
But Luis, I would like to say,
Sure,
for
go ahead,
people who
Kristy.
do have problems and don't have their hours near what you need, try your board of supervisor. They got my hours, like within hours, I had what I needed. I'm not guaranteeing that'll happen to everybody, but I was not even on PSC when this happened. I didn't have any clout and they did that for me. So give it a try.
Thank you. We'll go to one last question before we proceed. We have two questions, actually. We'll make it quick. We have Fran, and then we'll go to Yael after that. So go ahead, Fran.
Good, or is it afternoon or is it still morning? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fran Saris, and I'm a commissioner for you for LA County. And what I really want to stress is what I have seen and experienced is we as individuals, no matter what age we are or what condition our bodies are in, we all have a heart of what we want to live, keep on living for, and not only for ourselves, because some of us are disabled and handicapped, but we also have to remember what we do now is going to help our future children and what they're going to be going through. So this can't just stop right here. We have to keep going. Go to your supervisor meetings, go to your city council meetings, go wherever you can. If you see a program like this one, and I am sure happy to see you all here, because by coming to these kind of programs, you'll learn more, you'll understand a little bit more what's happening and why I don't get this. And I'm not talking about me personally, but why we aren't getting the services that we need. It's because we have to speak out. They don't know how we feel. They don't go to the experiences that most of us, look at Cynde. what she goes through. So, and I'm seeing all of you here. Come on, let's get on this bandwagon and get something done, but we have to do it as a group. We are all seniors, well, most of us are, but get out there and do something about it. Don't just go home and forget what you learned today. Pick up the phone, talk to your representatives in your districts, in your homeland, and also speak to other seniors. Let them know what's happening, what you've learned here today. So that, because a lot of them, I know because I'm an advocate for seniors, and that's how I got started. But a lot of them don't know what's going on. But get out there and say the word, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fran. Thank you so much for that reminder. I love your passion, and I think we need more of that. You know, sometimes it's difficult because we get caught up in the day-to-day. We're trying to figure out how to pay our bills. Through the IHSS, you're the employer, so now you have to figure out how to manage your own care, how to train your own provider. You have to interview them. And, you know, it's extremely difficult. I can't imagine going through that by yourself. So luckily for everyone here, you're not by yourself. We're here to help you out. There's so many great resources available here today and so many different advocates. So I wanted to make sure I highlighted that. We're going to go to Yael. Yael, go ahead with your question.
Thanks. I actually have a comment. I just wanted to illustrate just how powerful our voice is. So Fran, it was a great introduction to what I'm about to say. Yesterday, or sorry, it was Wednesday, at the SICA meeting, we all called together and we called the assembly member Gabriel's office. And I was not able to call at the same time, so I called 2 hours later, and they told me that in the span of 2 hours, there were well over 100 calls made in his office on this topic. And it's that momentum that we need to continue. And if you don't think that it's making a difference, it is. They're getting calls and they're hearing from us, and we need to continue that. So thank you very much for all of you who participated in that and those who helped put that together.
No, thank you. Yael has been around for the last 25 years. So she's actually a PASC employee, an IHSS recipient, and is a community advocate. So she advocates for several programs, including Access Services. She's heavily involved in that. Yael, are you still the chair of Access Services? Oh, so we have the chair of Access Services there. So I'm really proud to have someone like Yael part of our team. I learned so much through her and all the recipients here, but we'll leave you with this last word. Anybody else want to share some inspiring words right here from our panel, actually? So I'm going to call on, oh, we have one last question. Oh, yes, definitely. Go right ahead. I'm so sorry about that. Go right ahead.
Thank you. My name is Dika McLean. I am proud to say I'm part of the LA County Commission on Disabilities with Carlos, one of our panelists. And my question is, everybody in this room is not fortunate to be advocates like we are. So what do you tell the people in the room that are not advocates? They might not feel comfortable talking on the phone or writing letters. So what do you tell them to help them understand how important their voice is? Because I didn't wake up one morning and say, I want to be an advocate. It fell in my lap. I didn't have a choice. And I'm still doing it 30, 40 years later. So what do you tell that person? Thank you.
I'm going to just briefly speak about that, and then I'm going to have one of the panelists answer that. So what I can share with you is that, does anybody feel concerned about the landscape right now with the budget? Just raise your hand. Has anybody ever felt unheard? Not just budget related, but in your lifetime, have you ever felt unheard? Raise your hand. You're an advocate right there. Why? You have to say your truth. You have to speak what's going on. That's what's really important. That's what they needed to listen to. What we can all agree on is that at some point in our lives, we felt unheard. And I know it can be scary at times, but like, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't share your story, somebody else is going to mention it for you. If you don't share what's going on, then somebody else is going to vote against it. And so that's why that's really important. But I do want to call on our panelists. Does anybody else want to provide feedback to who should we just mention?
Yeah, I think that if we talk to each other, first off, okay, Talk to your friends, talk to your family members, explain to them. Because a lot of people have that lack of knowledge, okay? They're not educated enough on what's needed, what you need. Maybe what you need is something special. I'm gonna talk to you for a minute. But if you don't tell everybody in your family what you need, or they don't tell anybody else what you need, nobody's gonna know, okay? So that's the important part. First off, is educate people. The next one is the decisions made in legislative offices and planning committees over the next few years, okay? It's gonna be very, very crucial to us. Today, we're just not planning a presentation here, okay? Don't look at this as a presentation. We're launching a roadmap, okay? Each and every one should remember, you guys are all launching a roadmap. We're gonna break down policy changes, dedicated funding streams, and collaborative advocacies required to turn this moment and to turn the challenges that you're having, to turn all these different things that we really want. I look at it like this. There's only two types of people in this world, okay? There's disabled people and there's tabs. Okay, a tab is just a temporarily able-bodied person. Because age, illness, or accident, they're gonna become disabled. They're gonna need caregivers. We're gonna need a whole lot of things. And if we don't advocate for that right now, like I said, hey, you can make all the changes you want. They're gonna happen, may not happen in my lifetime, but you know what? I'm not worried about my lifetime. I'm worried about my kids, grandkids, and everybody else. And that's what each and one of you should be looking at. Teach people that, you know what, by the time they get to where you're at, the transition will be a lot easier than it was for you to get to where you're at.
Carlos, excellent point. I just wanted to mention, I'm going to go to Maral, Kristy, and then Cynde for the final word, I'm sorry. We do have an organization called Hand in Hand, which is Domestic Employers Group, who has worked with our recipients to train them on how to advocate on their behalf. So there was a recipient who was extremely upset with the landscape of California. Hand in Hand connected with them, and he was able to share his story to the legislator, Dr. Corey Jackson, and he did an amazing job. And I'm hoping to see him here today. So I'll go to Maral. Can you just...
Yeah, another thing that's important, okay, is reach out to your local organizations. There's a lot of organizations out there, a lot of foundations. I have one that's called Pushroom Foundation, Triumph Foundation, all the local groups. Pushroom Foundation, we donate wheelchairs, art supplies, and medical things to people that fall through the cracks. Triumph, all these different organizations are out there, but you know what? You have to look into them. So right now, I'm going to empower you to find the resources you need. That's going to be very important to take that next step, to get that challenge so that you can live the life and the dignity that we deserve, not what they want to give us.
Before you have the mic, can you tell us about your dog? You love this, that's a big
Oh,
dog.
okay,
I love your dog.
this is Vito. Okay, Vito, thank you, Vito.
Aw.
Okay. Vito is probably one of the best service dogs you'll have. They train them for me because they know that I am with a supervisor and the commission. I'm president. We do go to a lot of homeless encampments. We go all over. So he had to go to guard school. He gets my clothes in the morning. I show him a button. He goes and gets my clothes. Wow. At night, brings my slippers. And then we sit and I brush him for an hour in the morning and an hour and a half at night. That's our bonding time. He's a poodle. But he is one of in fact, he's the only dog that has an actual county ID to go to all DHS hospitals.
Round of applause for Vito. We're going to go quickly to Maral, then after Maral, Kristy, and then Cynde. So go ahead, Maral.
So I think part of it is in two things, Dika's question and Carlos' point he made. I think we as government entities probably have to do better with coordination. So you don't have to go to 30 different organizations or make 14 different calls just to get to someone. So just know I'm newish in this director role, but we're moving our department in that direction. So no wrong door approach. And I'm proud to say that we are an aging, the LA County is going to be an aging disability resource connection officially July 1st. So we're working with all 6 independent living centers. So that's really the model for what a no wrong door approach can look like. And then we're going to build on that. And Dika, to answer your question, I think everyone has advocacy in their hearts. And it's a skill that we all have, but sometimes you don't feel included. Sometimes you're not invited. Sometimes, you know, and my goal is how do we find the unknown people? I love seeing all my, you know, people who are the advocates and our commissioners, but sometimes when I see a new face in our room, I'm like, yes, this is success. So the goal for me as the director of this department is to find those unknown people. We're in a county of 10 million people. There's a lot of messaging and a lot of opportunities for us to do that more on the ground outreach efforts to feel and to connect with people so they feel like they have access to this table and can be shaping that influence.
So we're running short on time. We have some breakout rooms that I'll announce after this. So, Kristy, about a minute or so, then I'll go to Cynde for another minute or so. Go ahead.
Okay, well, what I wanted to say is you can start out slowly if that's your pace. Just go, there are some wonderful people here like Hand in Hand. It was 6 years ago that I hooked up with Hand in Hand. And my life has totally changed, but I went into it slowly, carefully, not to overcommit. And, you know, they helped me to explore what I could do. They helped, a lot of these organizations are great at that. So reach out to these organizations, just pick a couple, you know, and do one of their Zoom meetings. And you'll find that you can make an impact you never would have dreamed of. You will meet people you would never have thought you'd meet. It's an amazing thing to be an advocate.
Cynde, thank you so much for that. Kristy, Cynde, go ahead.
Sure. I think our primary message has been facing recipients of IHSS, but caregivers, IHSS workers, you can do it too. Accompany the person that you're working for. Tell them your side of the employment story. How about your wages, which are too low, but anyway, how your wages affect your family, pay your rent, how much you enjoy working in this field. And we can all get involved in this, so thank you.
And with that, we are going to conclude the part of the panel discussion. I just wanted to thank everyone who participated, all of the questions. We hope that you learned something new today. If you're interested, we have several breakout rooms. And so I just wanted to make an announcement in the Mojave room, and you'll see the numbers outside. It's the Mojave room number 5. We have Bexetic, which is how to maximize your IHSS hours at 10:45. And then at Caladita room number 6, the Personal Assistant Services Council will be presenting if you want to know more about PASC. Cabrillo room number 7, we have the panelist breakout room in case you want to talk to one of the panelists here. Joshua Tree room number 8, we have CalLife Stop the Hate. That's at 10:30. So that's Joshua Tree room number 8. Big Sur room number 9. We have the Department of Social Services that's going to talk about the Medi-Cal changes and IHSS overview, along with the helpline chat feature. They also have a table in the back. So if you want to talk to DPSS, they're in the back there. And lastly, we do have CPR courses going on throughout the day. You had to pre-register for them. So I know, I believe, Robert, you had mentioned about CPR courses. There are available. PASC is hosting CPR courses through the end of this year. So make sure that if your provider's interested, we're offering those and that they're registering. So we have 2 of those. So that concludes. Thank you so much to the panelists. You did an amazing job today. I'm so proud to be able to share this table with you. One day I was looking up to all of you. Next thing you know, I'm sitting at the table with you. Such a pleasure to be here with you today. So thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.